My name is Roy Tyler. I was born in Coventry. We went there before the beginning of the war, and then we had to move up to Morecambe because of the bombing. And then I went to live with Grandma in Westminster Road. I was born into a theatrical family, and my mother was an actress. Her stage name was Bessie Norton. Well, it was mostly plays, you know. My mum was in over 1,000 plays professionally. When Coventry was bombed, he was stuck down in Coventry and everything was cut off. And Mum was at the Royalty in Morecambe, and he managed to get through, and we were down at the theatre, my mum and I, and all of a sudden they heard this rattling at the back of the theatre, and it was my dad trying to get in. And he ran down the aisle and up onto the stage, and they embraced on the stage. They stopped the show because she didn't know what had happened to him, you know. And the play was called Mrs. Moonlight. Yeah, it seemed ironic because it was wartime, you see. Mm-hmm. But they did a different play every week. She took me down because she told me to sit there and learn. I was at a matinee with her, and she said to me, get up on the stage and say that poem you're saying at school. So I got up on the Royalty stage and said this poem, and they all gathered round in the stalls to hear me say this poem. My mum met Thora Hird in 1937, and they were both married the same year. My mum was married at Parliament Street, and Thora was married at Green Street Church. Yeah, they shared the dressing room, and the week Thora was discovered was Mum's week off, and she went back and everybody said, oh, she's gone. Oh yes, they were in quite a few together, up in Mabel's room. And another one was Mars Bit of Brass. I used to sit on their step with her daughter, Janet. And my dad always thought I should marry her. Well, he said that. And I said, well, perhaps she didn't want me. She turned up late for the Warblers. They used to perform at the Winter Gardens, and she nearly lost the job because of being 2 minutes late. I remember going to the Alhambra many years ago to see plays and pantomimes, and we knew the manager, and he used to get us tickets when there was a show coming up. All the Fortescue players used to do weekly plays there as well. You know, Frank Fortescue and his famous players. Mm-hmm. And if you got to be a Fortescue, you were. Mm-hmm. But you see, every town had its repertory company. Or they tour, or you tour with them. Right. Mum played Elsie Tanner at 70 years old in this other play. It was the same sort of character, but at 70.
Okay, what was the play called?
5 to 5:30. It's written on my heart. Written on my heart. For years now you've been ashamed of me. Ashamed, don't dare to deny it. You've made positions for yourself in this town. 3 big frogs in a duck little pond. You fancy yourselves and I don't fit in. Oh, I'm the family skeleton, all right. She's sitting in this chair and telling the 3 girls off. And she was still working when she died. In fact, she said to me on the last time I saw her, God bless you, she said, I can't stop in here. I've got to play next week. You know, and she had. I mean, we went to most of the variety shows if you could get in. You couldn't get near on a Saturday night. You couldn't get near. I mean, we were lucky to see who we did see, really. Because don't forget, there was very little television. Morecambe and Wise, we used to go down to his house in Buxton Street. Go down and see Minnie, Betty and Tommy, and she used to give us all the news about where they were or all that, because when they first started they admitted they were awful. You see, because their act was a variety act and it didn't come over really on television then. The middle 50s were very, very rich in Morecambe in entertainment because everybody seemed to go there and see all the big artists. And many came over and over again because they knew they could fill the Winter Gardens or the Alhambra. What topped it for me was seeing Ruby Murray at the Winter Gardens in 1955. It was a wonderful performance, and my mum and I were so happy to have had the experience of seeing an artist, because she made it look so effortless, really. And all she did really was run on the stage and sing. And my mum said she's got that magic. You can't put your finger on it, but she's got that magic. And she'd 5 records in the top 20 all at the same time, and they were all different. Also, in 1955, when I was in the hospital down here, they had what they used to call bumper bundle time on the radio, 2-way family favourites. And one Sunday, there were a lot of cards for this record of Ruby Murray's, you see. And I just sat there and burst into tears. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. And I wrote to her and she wrote back and said, thank you for your very kind letter. And it's a memory I'll always treasure.